Hi, aloha. So I'm bringing you an update now that I have returned to New York from an epic 10 days in Hawaii, which was truly one of the most amazing trips of my life. It's just such a magical place with incredible vibes, just insanely the most beautiful nature I've ever seen. And it's funny because one of my therapists who I spoke to yesterday was like, oh, it must have been so hard to come back. And I was like, no, like I never find it hard to come back. And yes, I definitely have feelings about leaving Hawaii just because it's such an incredible place. And I definitely always entertain the idea of spending more time there and maybe living there for a time. But the truth is, I'm always happy to come back to my life because I live the best life ever. And it's literally my job as a coach to always be prioritizing the things that make me the happiest, because that's literally what I'm preaching to everybody else. And it's not always easy to make those decisions. It definitely even though sometimes something's always a clear yes, like going to Hawaii is obviously always a clear yes, but there's a lot of things to take into consideration, the travel costs, the fact that you're flying to literally the middle of the ocean during a pandemic with all types of tests and quarantines, and should we even be traveling, and there's just a lot that is involved sometimes in saying yes that can be exceedingly uncomfortable. And but now that I'm back, and this is why I love to travel, and this is why travel is such a big part of like what freedom really means for me, because one of the coolest things that happens when I leave, when I go away, when I go to a different place, which has just become a part of my lifestyle, is it's a massive pattern interrupt. And I've noticed since coming back from Hawaii, it's always like a clean slate for me and a new chapter whenever I come back from a trip. And I bring a lot of consciousness and a lot of awareness. And I really noticed a shift after having spent so much time in nature and being really, unplugged and switched off and giving myself that space. Coming back to New York, which really has its own very frenetic energy, right? And my partner, who's a medical resident, just lives the craziest life, the craziest schedule. And the way I describe landing and arriving to New York is kind of like jumping into a very fast flowing stream, and like you just have to keep swimming so you don't get sucked under, just because it has that energy. It's a very fast pace of life. And even though my life doesn't necessarily have to be that way, I'm still impacted by the way everybody else in this environment is living their life, and that is a very common experience and lifestyle. So I definitely can get caught up in that kind of like ambitious go-getter, like working more than average, and it's something that I have to actively resist if I don't want to become a workaholic, which has been a tendency in the past, even though I've always prioritized fun and play, and I see that as a part of my work. But I really got to see that difference in just my connection to my body, my connection to my energy, and this even greater kind of objectivity around my thought process. And I've kind of had more than ever before this ability to notice when like an old patterning or thought has come up that maybe it doesn't serve the direction that I want to be going in, or just doesn't serve an expansive story that is actually really empowering me. And it's kind of the first time that I've had that experience to this degree, and I'm really noticing a new level of control over spotting a negative thought that's telling a story of how something maybe isn't going to work out and catching it and then bringing it back and redirecting it in the like wouldn't it be nice story and narrative, which is huge when it comes to energy management. and when it comes to like creating what you want versus what you don't want, and overall just being detached from fear stories, negative outcomes that most of the time don't even happen, and really don't feel good when we give them our attention. So that's just like one of the big wins that's come up as a result of this trip. And the other one is that I've just been so overflowing with energy and vibrancy. I've had all of these incredible ideas for my courses, for, you know, the work that I'm doing with my clients, and they're getting to benefit from the energy that I created. And I had the hit of inspiration to add to Freedom Club. We're going to be doing a monthly money date together, because that's been something that I have historically had a lot of resistance around. And when I started doing it, like really showing up for paying attention to my numbers, knowing what's coming in, knowing what's going out, being in there consistently every single week, when I started showing up for my money, more and more money started showing up for me. And that was a really crucial and pivotal part of my journey to start hitting 5-figure months and multiple 5-figure months. So I knew that this was something that I had to offer the women in the Freedom Club program. So I'm super excited to be offering that. And I did a bonus workshop in Tell Stories That Sell. We have some bonus masterclasses lined up for my current clients, and like they're really feeling the energy, and they're really feeling just like the overflow that I'm feeling, because I gave that to myself first. And so me saying yes to what it is that lights me up and that nourishes me and that makes me feel like I'm literally living the life of my dreams and doing all of the things that make me so happy now, and not putting it off to one day in the future when all of the circumstances are perfect. That's what unlocks higher levels of impact, higher levels of fun, so much more value for myself, for my clients, for my business. And it's just the ripple effects are huge. And this is the one thing that we can tend to resist, right? So I wanted to share that with you today. If you are feeling called for that high level support and you're ready to be, making a success of your dream business in the way that unlocks all of the things that you desire in life without having to sacrifice, without having to hustle, being able to prioritize your well-being, your self-care, come and join us either in my one-on-one private mentorship, which is called Creative Business Badass, where you get all access to me, my team, my behind the scenes of my business and my processes, my mindset, my beliefs, and I'm there as a partner while you're building out the business of your dreams and the life of your dreams at the same time. Because one can't come before the other. Well, you can live the life of your dreams and then launch your business, but if you're ready to be birthing that business of your dreams now while having fun now, that's the place to be doing it. Alternatively, I have Freedom Club, which is a group setting with incredible women. It's a small group. You still get access to me via Voxer every single day for just high level energy, all of your questions answered, from like the little tech and strategy questions through to what's coming up for you, what are you being triggered around, what needs to shift, and how are you being called to shift your focus to access more flow so that things start to feel fun and things start to feel simple, and you have that clarity over what it is that you truly want, because that's what's going to lead you to the business of your dreams. That's the only way that is actually really going to work for you, because we all know how much people like us are going to resist doing things that aren't aligned for us, right? So both of those containers are open, and I'm offering a special bonus, early action bonus this month only, where you get $1,000 off either my one-on-one mentorship or off a Freedom Club. So send me a message if you're interested in applying, and I would love to welcome you into the vibes.